Hello students, welcome to Risk Communication, COM 535. This is week 1 and I am Dr. Sandra Romo and I'm pleased to serve as your professor for this term. As we get started, I wanted to briefly share with you just some personal information so you can get to know me a little better for those of you that do not. As some of you know, I have been teaching here at CBU for 8 years. I've taught with OPS since 2010 and I've taught with the traditional daytime program since 2009. I serve as the program director for the Masters in Communication program. So if you've not already gotten to know me, if this is your first course, you will get to know me throughout your program. I also oversee the COM 565 Communications Master Project. So when you get to the end of your degree and you're going to write your thesis or your master's project idea and conduct your research, you will be working exclusively with me. So you will get to know me at some point in some fashion throughout the program. Additionally, I oversee the Bachelor's in Communication Studies program as well here for CBU Online. For some of you that do not know, I've been married to my husband Mark for 11 years. We have 2 children. My son Nicholas is 9 and my daughter Emma is 7. We are big Green Bay Packers fans. We love the Pack, and I could go on and on about that and convince you why they're the best team in the NFL, but I'll spare you of that. In addition to that, I'm also a Girl Scout leader. I really am very passionate about that and investing in young girls' life at a young age just to empower them to become strong women and leaders within their community. I'm really passionate about what Girl Scouts represents in terms of that. So there's just some pictures here showing you our family portraits from this fall. We went to Green Bay a couple of years ago. My son had a Packer party for his birthday, and just some things there to give you a little glimpse of who I am and what my life is about outside of serving as your professor. So there's some things with that there. If you have any particular questions or anything like that, it's a good point to know how to get in touch with me this term. My office hours are Monday and Tuesday from 9 to 1. So that's when I'm physically here in the office at the Tyler Plaza Ops office. If you need to get in touch with me by phone or anything like that, that's the best time to reach me at my office extension. If you need to set up an appointment outside of that time, we can definitely do that by email. As many of you know, if you do not know already, email is the best way to get in touch with me. It's the fastest, most efficient way to get in touch with me throughout the term. It's synced to my phone and mobile devices, so it's usually there for me to answer at any point. If I don't respond relatively quickly, it's usually because your response requires more than what my fingers can punch in on my phone. I need to actually sit down on my computer and respond to it. Just so you are aware, the university requirements are that we have 24 business hours to respond to all emails. However, I usually respond fairly quickly and a lot faster than 24 business hours, but that's what I am required to do. So like I said, my office extension is there, my email's there, and just some information on how to get in touch with me should you need to get in touch with me throughout the term. So things to review on the syllabus. For those of you that have taken a class with me, this is review. If this is a new course for you, that's completely fine. I go through it every term just to make sure everybody's aware and they understand. All of my discussion board assignments have 2 deadlines. Your post is always due on Friday and your replies are always due on Sunday. You always need to reply to at least 2 students minimally. It's encouraged that you go beyond that. You also need to refer to the syllabus for week 8 deadlines. The last week of the semester, they vary significantly from what the traditional deadlines are throughout weeks 1 through 7. So make note of that now and plan early for that. Also, I have a pretty simple late work policy. It's only 1 sentence and it tells you this: late work is not accepted under any circumstances. So plan ahead and accordingly for situations on submitting work on time. I understand we're all busy, I get that. And that kind of goes out the window. We understand that, and that's kind of the nature of what the ops student is. They're full-time workers, and we get that. Most of them have families or they work extensive hours, and that's one of the primary reasons why they chose to complete their degree online. I totally understand that. I completed my PhD with when I began the program, my kids were 3 and 4, and when I ended it, they were 7 and 9. So I completely understand what it's like to finish an advanced degree with kids. When I got my master's degree, I started my master's degree with my infant son who was 3 months old, and I finished my master's degree with a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. So I understand what it's like to go through programs, working full-time, creating a family and maintaining a family and doing everything that comes with that. I get that, but the late work policy is what it is. I don't accept it under any circumstances. Make arrangements now. Look and see what some of those large assignments are so you can plan now and work early, ahead, and often. Also know that weekly lectures and videos embedded into Blackboard are not optional. They are required. Those are embedded into the hours and minutes that we submit to WASC to validate our degree. So we are assuming and we are requiring all students to watch those videos and lectures as part of your time you need to spend within the course. And all of that is monitored through Blackboard. So please be aware of that early on. Some things to expect. In case you are wondering, this is how some things that I want you to be aware of as you navigate through Blackboard. I understand that you're all probably Blackboard pros by this point in your career, but the week one agenda, or just every agenda, is organized in 3 sections: what you need to read, what you need to watch, and what you need to complete. So keep that in mind. Additionally, I post all the videos you need to watch are embedded into the weekly module for the week they're assigned, but I post all video lectures in the announcement. Video lectures are posted usually by Monday. I try to post them before then, however, they're by Monday. This week, with the way that things happened, our report back date was January 9th, the day the course started, and I was in meetings on that day all day. So this is coming out a little late. That's fine. With that, though, keep in mind that Monday is usually the general guideline. I post in the announcement sections for multiple reasons. 1, it sends it to an email to you directly, so you can access it via email. And 2, it stays in one organized area for you to understand in a timestamp fashion which one is which on the weeks they're assigned. All video lectures are recorded and uploaded in YouTube, so it's easy for you to watch on any device. It's mobile friendly, and you can listen to me on your way to work if you want, or sitting at your kids' practice, or whatever it may be. So keep that in mind as well. As you access the My Grades section, it's important to know if you want to know and see how you did on an attempt in one of the assignments, you actually click the title of the assignment. When you click that title, it views and shows you all attempts. If you want to view multiple attempts, you click View Attempts. Once you've done that, you have to click on the actual grade, the number that you received for your grade, and it will actually open up your submission. Under Response, feedback will show all responses from the instructor, and sometimes you may need to click that to view more depending on how detailed my response is to you. And there's a rubric attached to it, you can click View the Rubric. So that gives you a quick breakdown on how to view your grades in Blackboard in case you are not aware. This week we are reading Chapter 1 in Theories and Models, and we're also reading the World Health Organization handout, the WHO handout, on 21st century challenges and opportunities for risk communication. That is attached to the agenda in week 1. You are also watching 2 videos on the risk communication in the 21st century, as well as stages of behavior change. You have 1 assignment this week. It's a weekly review number 1, which has 2 deadlines since it is a discussion board. Your original posts are due by Friday, and your reply posts are due by Sunday. In this weekly review, it's important to look at the discussion board prompt listed. In this prompt, you will make sure that you understand all original posts will be no less than 500 words and due on Friday, and all replies will be to at least 2 students with at least 200 word responses for each response due by Sunday in the week assigned. So in this particular discussion board post, we're utilizing POBC, the process of behavior change theory. We're pretending that we work at a local community and we want to raise awareness about new recycling bins that are available for the community to use. You are trying to encourage those that use recycling bins already to advocate them. There's questions you're going to answer according to POBC, which you'll read in the course text, that particular theory. You're going to provide a detailed explanation of that theory and how it's used in communicating health. You're going to look at what people would need to do in each step of the POBC model to achieve their idea of spreading the word about the recycling bins, and look at what practical implications are of that theory on this particular topic, as well as looking at any other theories in the text or in communication in general that could be used to help this cause, and include support from the course text as well as 2 outside sources to help with that. So that's discussion board number 1. It's weekly review number 1. We have 8 weekly reviews in the term, and so this one is a discussion board for this week and is designed to get us talking about risk communication, which we'll be talking about throughout this lecture. Additionally, I'm going to put this down here. Additionally, the university has created a new discussion board guideline for all instructors to utilize and require in their courses. This is embedded into Blackboard, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it here. I just wanted to point it out that this is something that's required from the university. It's university-wide. It's a grading rubric we'll be utilizing to assess A, B, C, and D, and F grades within our discussion board posts. It's important for you, if you're striving to be an outstanding or good contributor, to read what those requirements are. You'll notice it goes above the minimum requirements for discussion board posts. Adequate contributors simply meet the requirements. So keep some of those things in mind. This is new this semester, and I wanted to make sure you're aware of it in case you have not already seen it in one of your other courses. As we get into some of the further content for this week, it's important for us to define risk and health communication. Largely, this course is going to deal with the idea of health communication and promotion, and looking at risk communication as a method of that. Risk communication can be defined as an interactive process of exchange of information and opinions among individuals, groups, and institutions concerning a risk or potential risk to human health or environment. So risk communication deals with analyzing and looking at risks or potential risks for environmental or human health, and looking at how we can communicate about that, analyze the risks, so on and so forth. Risk communication always uses a form of communication that is linear and represented by the SMR model. So it takes place in 2 fixed points. I'm sure we're aware of by this point in our communication career, and the message goes back and forth between a source and a receiver. It also assumes that we are utilizing the Shannon-Weaver model of communication, where we have a source, we encode a message, we send it out, and it's decoded by the receiver. And so it's important to know that risk communication is about analyzing and assuming what perceived risks are, how exposed our communication department is to those perceived risks for any environment. Environmental setting that we may be working in, and not just environmental meaning the environment of the earth, I'm saying just a workplace environment as well. What those risks may be that can potentially inhibit human or environmental health. And we utilize that in a linear perspective. Health communication really says that communication has an essential role in action that aims to improve and promote health in any fashion. It's really understood that health communication is, as an enabler of individual and social levels changes, should achieve and establish development of goals including health. So what we're saying is that if we're looking to enable individual and social level changes within society, we want to achieve some type of established development of goals, we need to include health in that sense. So health communication typically utilizes a non-cyclical model of communication. And what we mean by that is that as we communicate for health, we need to know that we're trying to establish not just individuals, but trying to relay social awareness and societal awareness about particular things that can affect us in our bodies or in any simple way of that. So we're taking health and environmental related topics, and we're looking at how we can communicate and promote those. Not necessarily from a public relations standpoint, but we're looking at how we can utilize communication theories in a number of ways to promote messages about health, safety, and environmental things to the community. So as we do that, health communication typically utilizes the non-cyclical model of the Thackeray-Niger model. And what that is and what that really leads to is that all communication starts with the person. And the person is the center of all communication. As we look at that, and as we look at that center, we understand that there are 4 things that we look at from a communication perspective of health-related information. Communication is either top-down, meaning it's top-down from the practitioner to the person, so it comes from the healthcare person down to the person. It either moves from person to information-seeking behaviors. So if we look on the left side or right side, depending on how you look at the video, is it moves to the left, which is us as a person seeking information, or it moves side to side in the horizontal sharing of messages, or it's bottom up. So top down is it's information that comes from our practitioner to the person. Bottom up is user generated. You have an idea, concern, or something you want to assess as a risk, health risk or environmental risk you may be aware of, and you generate it and the information comes to you. Then it goes side to side where you share the messages, and then the information seeking behavior goes out. You seek information to receive about it. So if you know that your family or you have a family history of heart issues, you're going to have that bottom up user generated communication model. If you're not aware of any health issues that your family may have or you may be experiencing, then you may receive some information top down. And then how you share that information comes out on the sides, either to seek information or back and forth in the sharing of messages. So what we say, and what we're alluding to in health communication is to know that we need to really reflect the evolving notion that health communication process is multi-directional, and as the general public seeks information from the immediate and accessible formats to them, we need to know that the model of communication is not any longer a top-down driven model, which it has been for the last 40 years or so. But now with the advent of the internet and access to information more quickly, we typically are moving and evolving to a bottom-up user-generated model of communication, utilizing that side-to-side horizontal message model. So as we look through that, that's important to know. This week we're reading extensively about some theories within this model of communication, and as we move through that, it's important to know that we're going to highlight some of them today. So the theory of planned behavior assumes three things. It assumes that, yes, whenever and what we're assuming here with this, let me preface this, is that we're utilizing communication to evoke some type of behavior change. That's really what the goal of health communication is. So we're utilizing our access to communication and communication theories to evoke some type of behavior change in the receiver of the message. And so when we can do that, that's when we really get to measure our results of how effective our communication was on a said health or environmental related topic. We utilize risk communication to analyze those risks and determine how effective those risks are, or how exposed we are to perceived risks within that given setting. So in the theory of planned behavior, we look at the intervention. We assume that all behavior change only occurs with some type of intervention. That's either access to communication, top-down model where we receive information from our practitioner, or intervention from our family members about something related to our health. There's three main determinants for change in this model. One is that the attitude towards the behavior, the balancing of the pros and cons of performing the behavior or the risks they are associated with, can enact change. Two, the subjective norm, meaning the social pressure from significant others or from for example, peers, media, and family, evoke a behavioral intention to evoke a behavioral change. And then the third one is the perceived behavioral control, the perception that the person has about their ability to perform the behavior change themselves. Those are three ways that we can evoke change, in addition to utilizing a communication theory to help that, to understand that we have a change in attitude, or the subjective norm can help us, or as well as the perceived behavioral control the person has over that theory, or I'm sorry, over that particular behavior change. So the next one is the health belief model. I'll move this over slightly so you can see here. So this model tells us that a person's behavior can be predicted based on how vulnerable the individual considers themselves to be. We view vulnerability in this sense as expressed through risk, so perceived susceptibility, so how much of a risk we have to that potential health or environmental thing, and how serious the severity of the consequences are if we do not adhere to that health belief. So these two vulnerability variables need to be considered before a decision can take place in any health-related ideas. So there are three weighing up factors that need to take place for a change to occur according to the health belief model. So for us to adopt a new health belief, there are three characters. One, the person needs to have an incentive to change their behavior. So an incentive to stop smoking could be not to smoke around a new baby, or something of that nature. The person also must feel that they are susceptible to something, either more illness, or if they don't perform the behavior, the actions or the consequences can be severe, leading to death or to some type of extreme risk by not receiving an anti-malaria vaccine if they're traveling to a country that has that, or things of that nature. The third thing is that the person must believe the change will have benefits, and the benefits have to outweigh those barriers towards the change. So, for example, a person may believe that the benefit of using a bicycle helmet means they're less likely to have a serious head injury if they fall off their bike. They also identify the barriers to wearing one. They're cumbersome to carry throughout the day. In order to change, for a change to be made, they must outweigh the benefits and the barriers of that perceived health belief in order to adopt it or reject it. So it's really important to know that the HBM model really suggests that there has to be a cue to action to prompt a behavior change process according to this model. So something that is prompting it, that is related to it. So if we go back to smoking, perhaps you're a smoker, your wife becomes pregnant, and you realize, oh, that's a cue to action. I need to make a decision about this health related item in my life. And HBM also considers modifying factors that are important to behavior change. These include demographic variables, sociological variables, as well as structural variables that influence how a person perceives the disease severity and threats to their susceptibility of that. So age, gender, peer pressure, prior contact with the disease, travel, things like that can come into place. So we need to know that there is a cue to action that ignites the need for a change, or there's a modifying factor, some type of change within our life that may ignite a change according to the health belief model. So within this graphic, you can see here we have our individual perceptions, we have our modifying factors, which is related to the perceived susceptibility or perceived severity, and then we have our likelihood of actions. We take action or we don't. So you can see in the modifying factors and the cue to action how they relate to each other to get some sort or ignite some type of behavior change when we move towards that model. It's important to understand. All of these theories are covered in depth within the course text. I'm just highlighting them here for you right now so you can understand some of the three that are found in the reading this week that I think are important to spend some time with. The process of behavior change is a model that is derived from the trans-theoretical model in action. So what we're looking at here is that we're saying the process of behavior change happens according to a series of steps. In this particular area, we say that there's a step of pre-knowledge, which means a person is unaware of any risks or problems associated with particular behavior that may need change. Then we say that the next step is they become knowledgeable about that need for a change. They are aware of the problem and the risks attached to their behavior. Then they get into an approval status where the person is in favor of changing their behavior, but they have not yet made the change. Intending is when the person is intending to take action to their change of the behavior, but has not yet done that. And practicing is when the intended behavior has been adopted and has been practiced within their life. And then they move to the last and final stage, which is advocating, where the new behavior is implemented and they now advocate that new behavior to someone. So an example could be, I don't know, we can let's look into example into dental health. Somebody wasn't aware of the necessity of flossing. They had no knowledge of what the severe consequences could be of not flossing their teeth were. So they were in a pre-knowledge state. They went to the dentist and they realized that they now have gingivitis. Now they have knowledge of that. They move from a knowledge stage of what it is, and then they move to the approval stage of realizing, I need to make a change. I need to start flossing my teeth. Once they start doing that, they move to an intention stage. I understand I have a problem. I've learned about this problem. I've accepted it. Now I have intention to change it. I move to the practice stage. I start flossing my teeth regularly, and they start really adopting those changes in their lives, and they see a marked change. They go back to the dentist, and the dentist says, oh, guess what? You no longer have this. You've done way better. Your teeth aren't inflamed. You don't have bleeding gums, whatever it may be. Then they move to the advocacy portion where they say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to advocate for this. I'm going to tell everybody I know why they need to floss, or whatever it may be, or maybe it won't be that extreme. But that's where we get at with this idea of process of behavior change. That's what your weekly review is on this week. That process and what it means to ignite behavior change and how the process of that works. Just to review, we're reading chapter 1 and the World Health Organization handout on 21st century challenges for opportunities for risk communication. We're watching 2 videos on risk communication, and then we're completing weekly review number 1, which is a discussion board due Friday with the reply due on Sunday. If you have any questions, let me know. I pray you all have a blessed week, and I look forward to interacting with you.